Christ. You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God, answering Jesus' question, who do you say that I am? This is the apex of Luke's gospel. Everything flows up to this point, and then everything flows down from this moment. To acknowledge that Jesus is God, to be the Christ, the Messiah, God incarnate, is to make the right judgment concerning him. And Peter says it there by faith, but now he's going to see it by sight. This moment was so important in the life of the apostles, and it is for us as well. Peter makes this great confession, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God, with the anticipation that the kingdom is coming immediately. But no sooner than he makes that confession, when in Luke 9, verse 22, Jesus began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, by the chief priests, by the scribes, and be killed.
At the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow. At the name of Jesus, every tongue confess.
And after 3 days, rise again. This was so offensive to Peter and to the rest of them that Peter began to rebuke Jesus. And he says, not on my watch. You remember Jesus turned to him and said, get behind me, Satan, for what you've got is your own plans and mine, not the plans of God. Whew. Mark 8:33. The problem is, it's not our watch. It's his. Jesus is saying, it's not your watch, Peter, it's my watch. Peter was committed to the glory, but not to the cross. He was committed to the exaltation, but not the humiliation. Jesus had just introduced the scandal of his death and his suffering, to which the Jews was a stumbling block, and it was very difficult for them to handle this word about the death of Christ. It would prove to be more difficult for them when the reality of this unfolded in about 6 months from this very moment. When Jesus is arrested, they scatter, and Peter, the self-confessed strongest of them all, says, I'll never leave, I'll never forsake. Even if everybody else runs away, I'll be the guy standing there. And he denies Christ on 3 separate occasions, and the rest of them disappear in terror. It was horrendous, the cross, the death of Christ. And they will also suffer, and suffering is coming. They needed to be able to survive it. They needed to have the strength and endurance to get through it. And consequently, Jesus does something for them that is so rare in the New Testament. It's really the only time right here. He moves their faith to sight. He lets them see his glory. Jesus unveils himself. And if you look at a list of miracles, you probably won't find this one. If you find a book on miracles, this won't be one of them. Yet this is the single greatest miracle recorded on the pages of the New Testament prior to the resurrection. And so let's pick it up here in verse 28. Read with me. About 8 days after Jesus said this, after he said what? He told them he was going to die. He took Peter, John, and James with him and went up into a high mountain to pray. And as he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became as bright as a flash of lightning. 2 men, Moses and Elijah, appeared in glorious splendor, and they're talking with Jesus. What are they talking about? His departure. Literally, the word here is exodus, which he is about to bring fulfillment at Jerusalem. And Peter and his companions were very sleepy.
In your name I come alive to declare your victory. The resurrected King is resurrecting me.
Suicide rates are rising rapidly, so most Jesus followers should prepare ourselves for a more active role in preventing suicides. We are on the front line since pros rarely get involved until a foot soldier helps connect people in crisis with trained professionals. E94.org is a Christian ministry dedicated to equipping the church to prevent suicide through free training of foot soldiers to prevent suicide through training, consulting, and resources. Get equipped to give hope and help and confidently refer people to professional counselors. Learn more at e94.org. Thank you.